Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kylie and I'm the maker of All Things St. Roger Street, where we are all about all things DIY hand embroidery. I'm so excited you're here, and if you're here, you are likely interested in making your own hand embroidery PDF patterns to sell. And so if you were in those shoes, I was in those shoes just 2 years ago, and today I want to share with you my experience on that journey and how it's gone and how much money I've made from that. So I hope this video is insightful to you and helps give you some clarity as to what is ahead of you and potentially what kind of outcome you might see. Before we jump in, I just want to clarify a little bit that I'm going to be reporting on my first full year of selling PDF patterns on Etsy. So I actually made a couple of PDF patterns in 2021. However, I'm going to be reporting on my full year of 2022, and I'm going to do that for two reasons. And my first reason is that in 2021, my patterns, it was my first time starting out, and everyone has to start somewhere, but usually it gets better from there. So in 2021, my patterns were not that great, and the PDFs themselves, they needed some tweaking and some upgrading as I went. So we're just gonna let those be my beginner ones and just not talk about those right now. And then my second reason for this is that in 2021, I did not know what Etsy SEO is. And so SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. So if someone goes in on Etsy and they look up hand embroidery pattern, a bajillion of patterns are gonna pop up, and that search result is not very specific. But if someone types in red autumn fern embroidery pattern, that's gonna pick up something more specific. And so whenever I was listing my Etsy listings, I was only putting fall fern embroidery pattern, and that's it. But Etsy lets you have way more space and letter space to type in titles and tags. And so while my title looked like autumn fern embroidery pattern, it should have looked like autumn fern embroidery pattern, seasonal fall PDF download, beginner hand embroidery pattern, etc., etc. I should have had a lot more words to help me get found in search. And so I didn't do that in 2021, so I don't want to give you those kind of beginner or skewed or not correctly listed on Etsy type review. So I'm going to start with 2022 and share with you my journey, and I'm really excited to do that. And yeah, again, I hope this is so insightful to you, and let's go ahead and jump right in now. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I don't know if you can see these, but here are my 22 or 23 patterns, and we're gonna go through one by one and see how much these little suckers made me. Okay. Just gonna set these aside. Oh goodness. Okay, so first things first, a little bit of sad news. So this stack right here, we're not gonna talk about this stack right now because these embroidery patterns actually made me 3 sales or less. A lot of them 0, but that is for multiple reasons, and we're not gonna count them out. We're just not gonna talk about them right now. So right now we're gonna focus on these ones, the ones that actually made sales and made me a little profit. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the patterns in order from the least performing to the most performing. So first up, we have the summer yellow flower pattern, and that one I had 4 orders for, and I made $18 from that. For this little garden shed pattern, I actually reached out to the owner of it and asked if I could stitch it into a PDF pattern, and she was kind enough to say yes. And for that, I had 4 orders and made $20. And this sad little guy that got chewed by my dog, I had 6 orders for and made $34 off of. Next up is my pumpkin patch pattern, of which I had 7 orders and made $36 off of that. Next up is my rainbow name pattern, which I had 8 sales for and made $45. And then after that was my yellow flower name pattern, which I had 9 sales from and made $49. And then I also had a mountain's name pattern. I just don't physically have it, but I had 11 sales for that and made $61. And then next is my carrot trio pattern, of which I sold 23 and I had a revenue of $98. And then in my top second place would be my woodland bunnies pattern, which I released for Easter, and I had 26 sales and I made $123 off of that. And lastly, this carrot harvest pattern, my best seller, I had 88 sales from that and I made $385 US dollars or 522 Canadian dollars. So all in all, I ended with a grand total of 869 US dollars or 1,179 Canadian dollars from doing the upfront work and then letting it be passive as I go. Okay, so now that we've talked about these patterns as individuals, I want to take a moment to talk about my 3 best sellers, which are my carrot trio pattern, carrot harvest, and woodland bunnies that also happen to have carrots on them. I just love carrots so much. I think they're so cute. But I'm glad other people like them too. And so, yeah, the reason why these 3 were so good or my top sellers was actually not because of Etsy, but rather because of Pinterest. So I made a Pinterest pin for each of these patterns, and I also made an idea pin, which is like a carousel where it has a photo of this one, then it switches to a photo of this one, then it switches to a photo of this one, and I titled it Easter Embroidery Patterns, and it went viral. I think it's also important to know, okay, so I told you guys that I made 22 or 23 patterns this year, but I think these 2, honestly, I think I made them in 2021, but it wasn't until 2022 that they began to sell. For example, this one here took 6 months to pop off, and it didn't pop off until January 2022. That's when I began to get sales like every other day for it, and I was like, whoa, what's happening? And what was happening is that my Pinterest pin finally went viral, and it took 6 months. And so I think that's why it's important not to count these ones out, because I actually listed the stack here that we weren't going to talk about like 1 or 2 months ago. So they haven't had time to pop off yet, and I think there is still great potential in that, but also maybe like I could make better designs, and I'm going to develop that over the years as I go. But yeah, these ones were exciting to see sell because obviously in 2021 I did not get many sales at all. And so that was super exciting for me to see, and also just to think like these made me a total of $606. I think it's fun to think like, okay, what if I made another stack of bestsellers? Like, okay, that means this year I could make $1,200, or it could just like accrue and accrue. And one other thing is just the beauty of Pinterest. It is an evergreen platform. So once I pin these things on there, they're there forever and their shelf life is forever. So I pinned this to my hand embroidery artboard. Somebody else saw it, pinned it to their board. Somebody else saw it, pinned it to their board. So it's just going to keep getting shared and shared over the years, and it's never going to stop growing as compared to something like Instagram, where you constantly have to grind to see any return on your investment. And so I definitely am going to be doing more of Pinterest this year. And I think it's also important to note that these sales came from something I did myself. It wasn't necessarily Etsy itself. Like, Etsy helped be a really cost-effective way for me to start a business, but it's not necessarily getting me the audience I want. And I think that's up to me to create the audience. So I'm creating an audience on Pinterest and also on Instagram. And whenever I first started hand embroidery, I started with other small accounts, and today I have seen those accounts grow so that these people have gone full-time, or they have like an incredible following and an incredible amount of sales. And so that's something that I'm going to be working on this year, is making my own audience so that I can kind of escort my own people to my shop rather than relying just on a search engine with people who maybe are nervous to trust me or don't know me, don't know my brand, and are more hesitant to buy. Whereas if I am like catering to my audience, they will be more likely to buy since they know me, they trust me, they know my brand. And so that's what I'm going to work on this year, and I'm excited to see how that goes. So at the end of the day, or rather at the end of the year, I know $869 US is not a lot, or if you're Canadian, $1,179 is not a lot, especially since I made 22 patterns this year and that was my return. I would be crazy to continue this if I didn't enjoy what I was doing. And that's the reason why I do this, is because I do enjoy embroidering. I do enjoy turning these into PDF patterns. I do enjoy Etsy selling and the customer service and making sure people enjoy what they got or what they're making. And so that is why I'm going to continue. But it's totally up to you, and you just weighing out the pros and the cons, if this is for you, if this is worth your time, because as you can see, the money is not a whole lot, especially because like they're such cheap items. But the beauty of that too is that you only have to do it once and then it can sell forever, but also like it's a small amount of money, so you're not going to make a huge amount unless maybe you like super grinded and made like 100 patterns this year. That you might have a little bit of a different story, but this was just my personal story with 22 patterns in my shop, and that's how it went. So I hope this was insightful to you, and I hope you learned lots. I hope it didn't discourage you from like starting, but I just wanted to give you a realistic view of what this looks like and how it might go for you, because this is how it went for me. And so yeah, thank you so much for watching, and if you did enjoy this video, would you go ahead and hit that like button, and if you're interested in more hand embroidery business content, go ahead and subscribe, because I have more of that coming your way. I plan on making a video that's about the past 4 years of my Etsy shop and kind of the story, the play-by-play, how it went, how much I made each year, just to kind of help give you guys an idea of someone who recently started on Etsy and can like remember the story exactly before hopefully someday I go big. So yeah, I just want to document that journey, and then also I'm going to make a video on like how to make your own PDF patterns, because like I said, the first one was quite difficult to make, but after that, smooth sailing. And so if you guys have any other video suggestions for hand embroidery business ideas, please do leave them in the comments. I would love to read them and potentially even talk about it here on my channel. And yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. I so enjoyed making this video, and if you have other specific questions, please do leave them below. And until next time, my friends, happy stitching.